Hey world, and welcome to What's Vegan In? So I wanted to do a vegan related cooking segment on my channel for a while, so I thought of doing What's Vegan In. So What's Vegan In is where I show you how to make various different plant-based vegan meals, which are obviously totally cruelty-free. So today I thought I would show you all how to make vegan mushroom soup. I know that mushrooms are not everyone's favorite vegetable, but me personally, mushroom soup is my favorite type of soup. It's not so easy to find this pre-made in a store, but it is very easy to make it yourself. So I am going to show you exactly how to make vegan mushroom soup. So let's start off with the ingredients. For starters, you're going to need mushrooms, and you're going to need more mushrooms. So we're talking about approximately 800 grams. You're going to need usually the 475 gram punnet of mushrooms plus a smaller one. So the idea of this is you're using the larger portion of mushrooms as the base of your mushroom soup, which is going to be pureed with all of your other ingredients, whereas the smaller portion of mushrooms is going to be diced very small, and this will go into the soup after it's been pureed to make it nice and chunky and a little bit more mushroomy. So next ingredient is of course going to be coconut milk from the can. Don't use coconut milk from the carton. It does not have the same texture. It won't give it the same creaminess. It must be canned coconut milk. So next thing is going to be, and this is also for thickness and creaminess, I usually have these steeped in water for a little while. Some people say you should do it overnight. I found if you have a decent blender for when you're pureeing the soup, you don't need to. So I'm soaking approximately a cup's worth of cashew nuts. Cashew nuts are an amazing thickening agent, much better than corn syrup or corn flour. It's a lot healthier, so it's a good option. Next thing, for flavor, we are going to be using 1 and 2 cloves of garlic. Don't need to chop that too finely for soup, just small enough for the actual soup and the water to absorb the flavors. And we are going to be using also vegetable stock. You can make your own vegetable broth. Personally, I've tried to do it in the past and I couldn't quite get the same flavor out of it, so I'm using Knorr vegetable stock pots, which are vegan. We're using 1 and 2, and I'm adding 2 cups of hot water to that, and I'm going to stir it all up, mix it all up. For seasoning, we are using pepper, black pepper, freshly grounded, and we are going to also use a little bit of chive. And we're also going to be using a little bit of parsley. These are going to add even more flavor to our dish. Okay everyone, so I think it's time that we get chopping. So we're going to start cutting up our mushrooms. For the main body, you don't have to cut them up so small. It is all going to be pure. It's all going to be pureed, and there really is no need for them to be so super small. So we're just going to be taking slices. Most of these we're going to be cutting into 3s. Some of them I may not bother. If they're small, I will only slice them in half down the center in a sort of a slicey, choppy motion, like so. It's me again. I didn't want to move the position of my tripod. But anyways, now that the mushrooms are chopped, the main mushrooms, I think we can now move on to the garlic. First things first, we got to remove the outer shell of this. So the way we do that is place it on the chopping board like so. You cut off one end, drag it away, you cut off the other end. Now, in theory, the skin should peel right off. Oh, and it does, for the most part. some of you will have to, aha, there we go. So it comes clean off, and then you're left with this. And then you do exactly the same with the other clove of garlic. So now that the skin has been removed from the outer part of the garlic clove, we can now start chopping it nice and small, not too small, not needed, as I said, for any type of soup that is that you're going to have garlic to. Okay, everyone. So I've just boiled a fresh kettle of hot water. So we're now going to do the vegetable stock. So as you can see, I'm opening up one of the little pots here. So lids off. So we're literally just going to get a jug like this. The Pyrex ones are usually best. They're nice and heat resistant. And you're just going to squeeze that in until it falls down. And then you get your other stock pot, one of these guys, and you do the same. You just get that in there. Now, it is usually more convenient if you've got one of these measuring jugs that have measurements in cups. Cups is not, it's not a type of a measurement that is very widely used in Ireland, the UK, and I think most of Europe. It's more of an American and Canadian thing. So this particular measuring jug doesn't have the cup measurement. So I'm using one of these. So this is an actual measuring cup, which you can get in most supermarkets. So we're just going to get this here. We're going to pour the water in for the first cup, and then we're just going to pour that in. And then we're going to do it again for cup number 2. And there we go. So we pour the second cup in. And then all you gotta do is you gotta give it a good stir so it's all stirred in there. So just get a regular spatula or a spoon, whatever, doesn't really matter. Just so you get that evenly dissolved and mixed in and dispersed around the water, so that we got our water vegetable stock base for the soup. So there's basically 2 ways you can cook the soup that I know of. You can use a regular saucepan, or you can use a slow cooker / pressure pan. So if you're using a regular saucepan, what you're going to want to do when you have all the ingredients in your pot, you're going to want to let that come up to the boil, let it boil, and then you reduce your heat, and then you basically simmer for about 25 to 30 minutes, and then you're going to be pureeing. However, if you are using a pressure pan / slow cooker, it's going to be done much more quickly. It's going to be done in approximately 6 to 8 minutes, which is a crazy time difference, Then you're going to let it cool, obviously, and then you're going to be blending. Unless you're using one of those handheld blenders, you can use those while the liquid is hot. You can't if it's going into a blender, because you're probably going to damage the blender, and we want to avoid that at all costs. So I'm going to be using an actual blender. I find it does a better job, so I will have to obviously allow my soup to cool first. So I've actually removed the pot saucepan from the pressure cooker. It's just easier for demonstration. So what we are going to do first is we are going to add in our chopped mushrooms. So they go in, just like that. We are then going to add our garlic from here, so that you just throw it in, just throw it all in. I think I'm going to add some seasoning now. So let's start off with some pepper. So just grind in the pepper like so. I'm going to add some chive in. Some chives. These are dried chives. You can, of course, use fresh chives. I don't have any of those today, so I am using the dry freeze chives. So just gonna sprinkle that on top. Okay. I think we could do with some parsley. Actually, I'd like some parsley in this soup. So parsley, we're gonna just sprinkle that on. try to get like a generous enough amount. So sprinkle that in, like so. I think that's enough parsley. Okay. Next item, let me see, is going to be the cashew nuts. Okay, so I still actually have the water in the cashew nuts, so I'll just drain that off, like so. So cashew nuts, throw them in. Okay, so I think we can move on to our veg stock. So just slowly pouring that in, like so. So that's poured in. There we go. Okay, just make sure I get all of that out. Drag it all out. I've got one of these silicone spatulas, which are amazing. It's amazing. They're really good at scraping every little piece of food, which you're going to see now in just a moment when I pour in the coconut milk. Okay, so we get our coconut milk here. Coconut milk. So the top of this, as you can see here, is actually it's very thick. Okay, so what we're going to do is, let's just see, we're going to get a fork. We're going to stick that in, and hopefully this works. Hopefully. Let's move this over a little. So we are going to try and mix this around. This particular one is very, ooh, oh my god. Okay, so we're going to have to kind of go at a stabbing motion here because it's getting a little bit messy. Okay, so I'm afraid this is going to spill everywhere, so I'm going to mix this over the actual saucepan itself. And then you want to give it a good vigorous mix, just so we have a nice smooth texture. You don't need to go too much, I guess, because it is all going to be pureed. Okay, so I think I got most of that. So now at this point, we can pour it in. So we're pouring in the coconut milk. Get our nice silicone spatula, and you just drag out as much of this stuff as we possibly can. We're just going to give this a good stir. Give it a good old stir. Okay, so I have now put the saucepan back into the Instant Pot pressure cooker, and we are now ready for the lid to be placed back on top. So let's go do that. So on it goes. We can now turn on the power. Okay, so it's on. I am going to select pressure cook, and it's already on 8 minutes there. I'm not sure if you can see it, but it's on 8 minutes. And that is a good amount of time for me. I'm happy with that. And there you go, it's cooking. The mushroom soup is cooking at the moment in the pressure cooker. And while that's going on, we are going to cook the extra mushrooms that's going to go into the soup. So these have been pre-cut, so they've been cut much smaller. You don't want it too big when you're doing a soup, or you're eating that soup. So we're simply going to get these now. We're going to put it in a separate saucepan, like so. And then we're going to add our hot water, a reasonable amount, so that it's covering the mushrooms, like so. I think that's good. We are going to use a little bit of seasoning. Don't need as much because we're going to have most of our seasoning in the main soup itself. So a little bit of pepper for flavor, a little bit of parsley again, like so, and then we're going to use some chives. So sprinkle a little bit on, not as much. I don't think as much is going to be needed. So we're going to go ahead and bring that up to maximum heat on the stove there, and give that a little bit of a stir. So the idea is we're going to allow this to come to the boil, and then we're going to simmer for maybe 15, maybe 20 minutes, or until I'm satisfied that they have been cooked thoroughly through. Hello there. So the mushrooms are simmering, and the soup itself is actually stopped cooking. So now is the really fun part. We get to depressurize the soup and take all the air out of the pressure cooker. This is my favorite part. So it is now time to open it up and see what we find. Okay, so this part is like, it's like opening up an alien capsule or something. Okay, so we literally just turn it this way to the left, slowly, and then we lift it up. And okay. Ooh. It smells amazing. It smells really good. As you can see, I have taken the mushroom soup out of the pressure cooker saucepan and put it into this blender. The soup has cooled down significantly. It is still a little bit warm, that's okay. Once it's not too hot, we're not going to damage the jug. So without further ado, I'm going to get the lid here. And I am going to just place that on top. And let's get blending. When the soup's all done, it's gonna look something like this. And I gotta tell you, it's amazing. It's so thick and creamy, but not too thick. I don't like soups that are too thick. It's just right. It's just right. It's got the right amount of mushrooms in it. And usually what goes really great with this, my personal choice, is some whole wheat brown bread, vegan, which is not too difficult to find. Most supermarkets should have it, with some nice vegan plant-based butter, such as the one you can see on screen right now. So everyone, I hope you enjoyed this episode of What's Veganin'. If you enjoyed this episode, maybe do a video response with you making some mushroom soup. Or maybe it doesn't have to be mushroom soup, it can be a different type of soup. I would prefer if it's vegan, since the show is called What's Veganin'. And next time we will yet again answer that age-old question, what's veganin'? Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Feel free to subscribe if you're new, post me a comment, video response, check out the description for video response tag. And until next time, everyone, do not forget that nerds, we rule the world.